Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and this is our place to chat all the latest celebrity news. No reality TV today. I did not make time to watch The Valley like I thought I would, like I planned on doing. We are going to definitely chat today's Jeff Lewis Live. I want to hear your thoughts. Everyone is in arms, texting me, DMing in the Sarah from Texas Facebook group. And some of y'all have very different, we're all going to hear this very differently. That's one thing, is we are all going to hear the MJ and Jeff fight heard around the world very differently. And Jamie's tears, and I don't want to make fun of him because God bless him. They were genuine and very heartfelt. And oh my gosh, so much to chat about. If you are brand new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Get comfortable in comments. We love hearing where you're from. If you want to say something, join, click the link, that StreamYard link. You can request to come on live, tell me a comment, a question, what have you. Oh my gosh, Tiffany Chump is back. She was in Vegas for an extra few days. Oh my gosh. Okay, real quick. So much going on. We got to chat the Lakendra Tukes of it all. So thank you to the Chumpette who let us know in the Facebook group that Tukes Takes. Lakendra put out a podcast this morning. It's only about 33 minutes. It's interesting. I mean, the girl has confidence. Let's just say, like, it's going to take a very strong man, because the girl, it's April already, and she wants to be married and with a baby in the belly by the end of the year. So it's going to take a very strong man. Basically, what went on with her is she invited herself, she admits, to Chump Con. And then Jeff and Sheen offered her, a paid job to be there as a chump for $10,000 and to take audience questions. Okay. But admittedly, she was not on the chain that was telling people all the directions about where to be, when to be, all that kind of stuff. But also, she is in this business. She's an actor. She's on radio. She's a podcaster. She should have known to say, hey, I need to make sure all my ducks in a row. And she didn't. She also admits that she was drunk. She was hungry. She was hanging out with baby Chump, the little 22-year-old. So she is adamant on her podcast. I mean, she is adamant that she will not only be back at Chump Con next year, which Jeff says she's welcome to come back at Chump Con, but she is not going to be paid. She will not be a paid chump, basically because she didn't feel she took it seriously. She wasn't where she was supposed to be. She got to the live event on time, and she did the audience questions. Everyone says she was very friendly, all the things, the whole weekend. She went to all the events. I don't think she missed anything. But Jeff keeps saying that she hooked up with this baby chump, the 22-year-old, and he seemed very mad about it. So at first I thought that it must have been a rule. It must have been, don't hook up with any chumps. Don't hook up with any listeners. I thought that might have been something for the insurance. I don't know what he's that upset about, because it sounds like she got there on time. Maybe she wasn't there for the prayer, but she got there on time. She was sitting in the audience. She thought, I'm doing audience questions. Somebody came up and gave her a microphone, and then they got her and she started on time. So I really don't understand that. I am very curious to see if she ends up being invited back on Jeff Lewis Live and can tell her side of the story. Or I'm sure Jeff will be given the cliff notes to her podcast, right? I want to know what his opinions are. She's adamant, though, that she will be back. She will have a bigger role than ever. She's like, I'm a chump. I belong on Jeff Lewis Live. I belong in the chump world. But Jeff is not going to be happy about this. She is adamant that she is going to file a formal complaint against one of the bartenders at the little pool area named Sebastian, because she claims that he was very rude to her and just a dickhead whenever they waited a long time to get a drink and then ignored him. And then when she asked for the drink, I think she said he was very rude. So the fact that Jeff is trying to partner with Resorts World again in the future, like for years, it goes back to the being grateful. He is not going to be happy that she could be potentially putting a mark against Chump Con, because she's going to be a paid employee of Chump Con, putting in a formal complaint about one of their employees. So, and saying it publicly. It's one thing, again, if you do things quietly, like if MJ would have quietly complained to her own family and friends, maybe it would have never gotten back to Jeff. But the fact that she apparently complained to Kelly Dodd and Annie and Monica, which she denies, she says, I wasn't complaining. I was joking, whatever. But Lakendra is adamant that she did not have sex with baby Chump. She's like, we hung out. It sounds like he was in her room because she checked, but whatever it was, she's like, we stayed up late, we hung out, we laughed. He was nothing but nice to me, very respectful. I am looking for a husband. I'm not looking for a 22-year-old, but she's adamant that they didn't have sex. So, what did Tiffany Chump say? Something about, because she was at, Tiffany Chump says, I thought Lakendra was fine. I talked to her several times. She let me ask a question. Oh, in the audience. Yeah. So as long as you don't show up drunk to work and you can do your job, Tiffany Chump says that can happen in Vegas. In other words, with dickhead bartenders, I would have complained too. But I think Jeff, we know Jeff, it's going to be very different for a Chump listener to complain versus that he would have never even heard about, right? Versus a Chump that he's paying $10,000 last minute, Lakendra Tukes, to go and say on her podcast that she's going to complain, right? No. Kimberly J says, can you sue someone for being a mean bartender? I need to sue all those people from college 30 years ago, LOL. No. Heather says, Rick Leventhal stated that Lakendra missed the meet and greet before, but made it just in time for the question and answer segment. She confessed that she was lit. Yeah, she said, I was drunk. I was drinking tequila. I wasn't eating enough. It's insane. Okay. Real quick, Sammy, who is Denise Richards' daughter, the 21-year-old that makes a gazillion dollars on OnlyFans, is throwing shade at her dad, Charlie, basically saying, people wonder why she made an Instagram, people wonder why I'm messed up. And then this is my dad. And it's a picture of him in like a goofy t-shirt, kind of messed up hair. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we've heard the rumors. They haven't talked in 5 or 6 months. I don't really know where the basis of the rumor is. I know a couple of years ago when she was like 16, 17, Denise told us that she actually moved out and moved in with Charlie. I'm assuming, I'm all assuming, I don't know who's stricter. I would have to assume, based on what we hear on on Paps and stuff, that Charlie is a little more of a party animal than Denise Richards, and that he was letting her do a little more. So I don't know. Apparently it's not very good now. I just thought it was ick. You know what I mean? Speaking of ick, and I don't know, I've got my thoughts on this. Gage Edwards has had me blocked from the beginning. I literally I went Instagram live for the first time talking about Jeff Lewis live in June of 2022. But a month or two before that, I had I'd been talking about Jeff Lewis and stuff like in comments. So I don't know when he blocked me, but I can't see any of his stuff. So thankful again for the Chumpette that posted his pictures of his most recent Ask Me Anything on Instagram. So as we know, gosh, over a year ago, not this Christmas, but the Christmas before, if not the Christmas before, because really, gosh, it's been a while. I mean, Gage and Scott have been together a while now. They were together before Stone was born. Like there was at least some rumblings going on. You know what I mean? And I have that confirmed on the down low. Anyways, but Gage was doing these Ask Me Anythings. And of course, the Chump listeners were coming out with a vengeance, asking questions pretty much that we all want to know. And one of them was basically about Jeff, and Gage kind of insinuated that maybe Jeff is flirting with him. Maybe Stu would be upset with the things that he's saying. Finally, as we know, Jeff had to come out and admit that he was flirting. He was texting and putting it in writing. He's like, Gage was flirting with me too, but he was smart enough to only say it, not put it in writing. I put it in writing, and now he's got this proof. And Gage was kind of threatening to show the receipts, right, on Jeff kind of wanting more than just dad stuff with Monroe. So now anytime he doesn't ask me anything, it's going to be, he's going to spill the tea for sure. So basically, people asked if he wanted to have another kid. He said, I already have 2 kids, meaning Stone and Monroe. So Stone is Scott's baby that he had on his own, right? And then somebody asked if he's going to have a podcast to tell his side. And he said, oh, maybe we should call it Gage Edwards Live. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then somebody asked if he's going to put a ring on it. I don't think he said, but he kind of smiled. So I don't know. Jeff talked about if he would ever get married today too. So, oh my God. That's the question we'd all love to know. Stoney says, I missed the show. So what's the bottom line? Are Jeff and MJ over? So we will chat about that for sure. But let me just tell you how the show ended. The show ended with very lighthearted, chatting about other stuff. This caller called in and was kind of, in a way, putting down MJ. And then MJ was like, thank you for the note. We'll take it, whatever. Jeff was like, thank you for apologizing. MJ was like, thank you for apologizing. We'll talk off air, kind of clear all of this up. But it was a doozy. Oh my gosh. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button as you enter. If you are brand new, welcome, welcome, welcome. We do this every weekday live at 4:00 Eastern on this YouTube channel. It goes up as a replay. Then it goes up everywhere as a podcast. Also, it's Sarah from Texas. So, oh, I never even thought about that. No, I don't think they would. I don't know. Sherry says, we don't know. Gage could have adopted Stone. I don't know. Who knows? Tiffany Chump says, I was on the edge of my seat. Again, I said it earlier this week. We're going to be listening to today's show with Jeff and MJ and Jamie like this, right? Because as we know, Jamie has always gone to bat. He's always been buddy-buddy with MJ. They were paired up very early on when Jeff had the after show. And when Jeff has falling outs, plural, with MJ, it's always Jamie that's like, oh my gosh, she's a great person. She loves you. I mean, Jamie is the fixer. Jamie wants everyone to get along. You know what I mean? As rough and gruff as he looks, he's a very emotional guy. He even cried on today's show. We'll absolutely talk about the second hour in a second, but we will get to the first hour. So basically, we don't know. That's the answer, Stoney. We don't know yet. Heather says, I can't wait until Monroe is of age and Jeff never has to pay Gage another dime or tolerate his horrible behavior. I love that. Tiffany says, I met Jamie and he was so nice. I have a newfound respect for him. Yeah. Okay. We'll definitely chat Chump Con and all of that the second hour for sure. Stoney, why do you got to remind me? Stoney says, but remember on Dr. Donner's final appearance, that show also ended with small talk and cheer. Yeah, and then she was part of the immemorial thing at the Chump Con, right? Basically, friends that are no longer. And he doesn't follow her on Instagram either. Okay, so Allie Landry and Justin Sylvester were supposed to be on together today. Justin Sylvester never showed up, never called, never texted. He got a horrific stomach bug on the way to work yesterday. Didn't even get to do e-news. He had to sleep on the bottom. I'm kind of like, why did he have to sleep? I think he goes into work at like 3 p.m. He said that before. So why did he feel bad enough to like sleep on his floor until like 10:30 at night till his boyfriend came and got him and put him in the car, eventually went to urgent care. He's got a horrible stomach bug, but basically he didn't even wake up till the second call came through that Allie Landry did, because Allie thought he must have died. He died, girl. Anyways, they did talk about NAD injections, gives you lots of energy. I'm seeing this everywhere. I don't know where people get this medicine. I don't know if it's a doctor and they give it to you kind of like Ozempic, or if it's mailed to you, if it's your dermatologist, if it's your internist, if it's I have no idea what these doctors are. But I have heard from a lot of people that the pills that people were taking are not near as effective as the injections. So I think as time goes on, they'll get a lot more affordable. But right now, Jeff even said he's going to a new doctor today, and he's going to use Denise Richards' NAD doctor. And he said it's very expensive. So he doesn't want to even say the doctor until he goes to the doctor and sees if all of this stuff is working. Nancy says, I believe that Rick stated that Lakendra was very overserved at some point, and Rick didn't say it to complain, just a comical observation. And Rick and Kelly are drinkers and would be fair. Well, and admittedly, Jeff has said that he was pretty drunk Friday night, right? Admittedly, Joey Zalzig has said that he was pretty drunk. So I think it was okay for them to be drinking. They know that it was like almost polite, like the chumps were buying them these $50 and $75 cocktails and shots and all this stuff. So, the food wasn't rampant. They go to the pool. There wasn't food available for them. So she's like, she admits she didn't eat enough and she, was drinking tequila. So tequila and champagne on ice. Oh my gosh, I heard your call today. Tiffany Chump says that was me who Joey approached with my husband. So if you listen to the second hour today, Tiffany Chump calls in and she is hot. I mean, she's hot. So is her husband. I've met them both. And she said that Joey wanted to have a threesome with both of them. And she was like, well, no, because I would basically be left out in the cold. Like you and my husband would be going at it like, bunnies, and I would be left out. Hold on. Laura says, I don't see MJ as being a friendly kind of chump as the rest of those who were at Chump Con. She doesn't seem like she'd mingle well with us common people. So I have met MJ, I'm trying to think if I met her at at BravoCon. I don't think I ever met her at BravoCon 2023. She was there. I saw her. She is the one that listening to Till the Dirt podcast on like the Monday before BravoCon, she is the one that said, hey, this is the hotel we're all being put up at. So if anyone wants to show up at the Gansevoort meat packing district, that's the place that all the people are going to be put up at, because that's where I'm being put up by Bravo. So that's how my friends and I knew to make a reservation that day. Literally, we made the reservation that day to sit at the rooftop bar, and then in walks, to our shock, Jeff and Stu and Shane and Kian and I think Alyssa. Who else was there? I think that was it. But then that's where Jeff was hosting his secret BravoCon pre-party that year. That was BravoCon 2022, sorry. BravoCon 2023, I was happily invited to his party. That was at a much swankier, private room in a hotel. But anyways, that's how I knew about it, because MJ always spills the tea, right? On the first hour, though, they're talking about Allie's 17-year-old daughter who just got into Belmont University, which is a very prestigious school, especially for music. She is absolutely right, with a music degree, because my oldest was going to do that until COVID happened. Now she's going to be an auditor, a CPA, whatever. Anyways, but Belmont and all these programs, you do have to get in academically with all the good grades and the accolades and all of that stuff. But then you have to put in a tape to hopefully get requested for an audition. Then from that audition, you get to have a live audition and get into the program or not. So the fact that she did all of that and got in as a singer-songwriter for Belmont University is a really big deal. But they're basically talking about how she hasn't decided to get her driver's license yet. And Jeff's like, oh, I'm already teaching Monroe how to drive. And my brain was like, oh, he's talking to her about why he changes lanes or something. That's what I thought. Is that what y'all thought? No. Jeff clears it up over and over and over again, even though Allie is like telling him, dude, you are a celebrity. You can't be admitting this. And then Shane was like, oh my God, Gage is going to have a field day with this. And I'm like, oh my God, Gage is absolutely going to hear this. So Jeff says that he lets Monroe, who's 8 years old, sit on his lap and he drives around the neighborhood. Yeah. Gage is going to implode when he hears this. This is already hours ago. He's going to freaking implode. Like, seriously. I was like, why is he lying? Is he joking? Does he think of this stuff and think, oh, that's going to make, the People magazine, or that's going to make, TMZ, or that's going to make Bravo and Cocktails? Like, I don't know. Thank you, Heather, reminding people to hit the thumbs up button. Dear folks, I love that. Dear Chumpettes. Mylene says, do you think Gage listens to every single show? I don't think he does. But I know for a fact that years ago, there was a guy, and I love this guy. He's talked to him on the phone all the time. We said, DM. He hate listened to Jeff Lewis. Okay. He admittedly, he knew that I did a podcast. He knew that I was, for the most part, agree with Jeff Lewis. But if y'all know, I'm not anti-Gage at all. I've stuck up for Gage a lot of times. I don't mind at all the relationship between Gage and Scott. I actually understand it. It makes sense to me why they're together. It makes sense that their personalities would bond. And they both seem very loving. So in a great structure, not structure, what's the word? Just a strong relationship for Monroe. So I don't have anything bad against to say about that. But he was so anti-Jeff that he would go and tell Gage anything immediately that Jeff said. So I know for a fact there are people that do that. There's also people that go and tell Jeff anything that he thinks he wants to know. The problem with that with me is they might tell him lies about me that Jeff doesn't go and get confirmed or ask me about first, But I digress. But the stuff I'm saying is that people absolutely will go and tell Gage anything and everything. So I know he checks his DMs. He absolutely responds to people because they've shown me. So I definitely know he doesn't have to listen to the show for him to find out if Jeff said something like that on the radio. And then Jeff, of course, came back with something where he says that Monroe got injured on like a four-wheeler or something. She had a helmet on, but something where she was with Gage. And Jeff was like, I wouldn't have made the decision for her to do that, but she was with she was with Gage when she did it. And she actually got injured, fell over or something. Anyways, they both agree that Kyle should take a break from Beverly Hills. Allie is actually pretty good friends with Kyle. Jeff, as we know, has been, pretty close with Kyle. So I kind of agree. I've said that all along. I don't know why she needs the money. I don't know what she's getting from it. If she's not wanting to share her personal life, if she's not wanting to talk about things about her marriage because it's going to upset her grown children, then, maybe it's time to take a little breaky break. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sherry says MJ is the same type as Jeff, although they argued very differently today. And we're about to chat about the second hour. Says MJ can burn someone to the ground with the best of them. So Heather says, even Jeff has said that he's happy that Scott is in Monroe's life because he knows that he's a kind and a good person. Yes. And don't forget, Jeff very much let us know that Scott pretty much lived with him during the pandemic. So at that age, Monroe was old enough to have memories. She understands that Scott was dating her dad. And, he always said that Scott and Monroe had a really good relationship. Like they would play together, build Legos, all the things. So, Kyle and Bravo? Oh, so the whole franchise of Beverly Hills? Stoney says Kyle and Bravo should take a permanent break from Beverly Hills. I love Beverly Hills. And I know that Debbie Matenopoulos, who I know from, is it MTV Real World? Was that? I know she was on The View, but I remember her from MTV's Real World. I mean, old school Debbie Matenopoulos. I guess she's in talks to maybe take over Garcelle's thing. I don't know. Tracy says MJ needs to go. She's not funny or endearing by any means. So I want to hear your opinions. I know we are going to have a lot of different ones. This is a safe space to have different opinions, yet always being respectful to each other. So we're not name calling. We're not putting each other down. Just because we all listen to a radio show that we love means we can all hear it differently, right? So I talk about the way I hear the show, and a lot of times y'all change my mind. Y'all tell me something that gives me another perspective. So we're all just here to chat about a show that we listen to. Kimberly says, don't you think that Jeff sees that MJ likes him for simply being him instead of what he can give her? Yes, she's long-winded. So you're saying MJ is actually one of the rare chumps that doesn't want or need anything from Jeff. Like, I feel like MJ, well, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like MJ could have a private conversation or like go over to Jeff's house for a glass of wine and do that privately and not necessarily take a picture of it and post it on Instagram or talk about it on her podcast or talk about it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Rachel says, I work and live near where Jeff lives. And if this is true about Monroe driving, it's horrifying. It's not the neighborhood. Anyone in their right mind would let a child drive on the lap. So that's clearly where a lot of us went is it's 2025. She's 8 years old. There is no reason for her to even have any interest in driving. But even Shane said, well, I did that growing up, but I did it at my grandpa's farm or in the, very rural area. But also, most people do that when they're like 14, like when they're starting to get interested. At 15, you can get your driver's permit. Then you've got a year to practice driving. Then at 16, you're able to take the test. I almost feel like it's like almost like a light switch goes off in him and he thinks, oh my God, I could say this. And I'm not calling Jeff a liar. It's about creative liberties to keep the show in the news. I don't know. I really wondered if he's not telling the truth on that. Like, I don't know. And then why does he know? Just like on yesterday's show, when he says the word Indian and they're all like, oh, you mean Native American? And somebody's like, you've known that for 15 years. Like, why are you saying that? Like, why do you say things purposefully that you know are things that we can't say, things that you know you'll get in trouble for, you'll get canceled for? You know what I mean? Bond says, is it Bon or Bone? Bond says, I feel like MJ takes a gummy before she's on Jeff Lewis Live. I don't know. I feel like she talks this slow and deliberate and lots of pauses, even on Till the Dirt. So I feel like that's just the way she talks. You know what I mean? Yes. Okay. So let's chat about it. Y'all are all getting comfortable in comments. I love to hear what you're saying. Keep the conversation going because I love, love, love it. But let's get started. And if you're watching on the replay, you can find the button that says live chat, and then you can read all the comments that went on during the live podcast. And of course, you can get in the comments and tell us what you think. Okay. So at the end of hour one, also Jeff was raving about Ty. So, they've been together since October. They became official at Valentine's of this year. He says he's so nice and considerate that it makes Jeff Lewis want to himself be so nice and considerate. He's like, we've never had an argument. Like, even though we spend very little time together, when we do, like next week, Ty is coming in town from Wednesday to Saturday. So they'll spend Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday nights, Saturday night, Sunday night, 5 nights together. So I get that all of that is kind of like vacation relationship. It's not like day to day, but it's working for them. So I'm very happy. Anyways, okay, let's get to it all. The emotional side. I love that. Tiffany Chump says, Ty is a doll. Diana says, Ty was very protective of Jeff. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Second hour was Jamie and MJ. Jamie comes in hot. I mean, it was almost like he was complimenting Jeff in how amazing Chump Con was so much. The vibe was so good. He feels so connected to all the chumps. He says, look, Jeff, I understand why I was one of the last ones invited. I'm a wild card. You didn't know if I was going to be good, if I was going to show up, if I was going to have fun, if I was going to relate. He's like, it was like so amazing. He's like, everyone knows everything. Everyone wants to chat. People know about his hot girlfriend, Alyssa. They know that she's got the Louis Vuitton for her birthday. I mean, it's very fun. But then MJ starts talking about Jamie needs to keep, his clean cut haircut and all this stuff. Somehow it comes up. Somehow it comes up, and Jeff said something like, "Are you really?" Like something about next year at Chump Con, like if you were to go to Chump Con next year. And Jeff was like, well, this is not for you. Like you said on your podcast, it's not for you. You were putting down the podcast before, you were putting down Chump Con before. You were talking about it like, this is my business. This is my livelihood. I go to bat for you. What you said was very disparaging. Like, if you only knew, MJ, how much I go to bat for you and how much I want you to, be the best in real estate. I took a chance on you and found out that you are a great realtor. I took a chance on you and highly suggested that Liat do the podcast with you because I knew the money would be good for you and your family. Don't forget, Jeff for months has alluded to that he knows that MJ is going through a hard time in her personal life. All we have to think about that is, her dad has passed away. She has no brothers and sisters. She has a husband. She has a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and she has a mom. So it's very immediate family that he has to be talking about with her personal life, right? But she's never confirmed it. She did kind of recently when Scary Sherry came on the podcast. But anyways, basically he's saying, look, I've done everything for you. I know you're going through things. I've defended you when you've done things. You've not been supportive of me. I really think for a second, Jamie was like, whoa, like I did not know it was going to go there. I thought Jamie thought they were just going to talk about Chump Con. I mean, Jamie wanted the microphone. Jamie wanted a 2-hour show, right? Yes, for sure. Bridget says, Jamie was so excited to talk about Chump Con today, and I think the drama with MJ totally bummed him out. But also, he even said, Jeff, I didn't know you were this angry. I didn't know you were this upset. Like, I didn't know that you were this upset. I mean, he's literally in tears, crying. It was very upsetting. Like, I mean, I wish we had video, like for sure. Rodney says, Jamie can be a little clueless. Well, I think he's definitely in his own world. He's definitely an actor. He's a comedian. He thinks everything's all about himself, whatever. I think all of that. But I really do think that he thought he was just going to come on and give this big love fest about Chump Con and basically try to mend the fence between MJ and Jeff by saying, MJ, I know you think this isn't for you, but it was amazing. Like, you have no idea how connected all these chumps are, and it would have been amazing. I think that's what he thought was going to happen. But I want to know, did you think MJ, we never heard her complaining, so we don't know, but we know Jeff can be very sensitive to these things. This boils down to the same arguments that he's had with Jenny that ended that friendship, the same argument that he had with Megan, the same argument that he had with Dr. Donna. It's the fact that they are, in Jeff's view, they were wrong and they're not admitting it. They might be apologizing, but they're not admitting they did anything wrong. But I understand that point of view. If you don't think you did anything wrong, or you certainly didn't do it intentionally, then what are you apologizing for? Like, you didn't do it with any bad intent. And I felt like that's what MJ was trying to say today. But since we didn't get to hear about the actual complaints to Kelly Dodd and Annie and Monica, we don't know. Where Are My Keys says, I don't blame Jeff for being bothered, but he completely overreacted. He acts like a spoiled dictator sometimes. So even at the very beginning, so what I was saying was they argued very differently. Jeff immediately got riled. I mean, you could just feel like, veins in his head, in his neck. I mean, you could just feel it. And MJ was so calm, collected. She never got riled up. At one point, she tells Jeff, can you break it down a second? Can you like lower it a little bit, tone it down a little bit? And he's like, yes. And he did immediately. Then he gets riled up again. And he's like, I'm going to take a bathroom break. And she's like, well, hopefully you'll come back a lot calmer. I don't know that he did. Okay, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Where Are My Keys says, Jeff was way too harsh. He was being so petty and childish, shaking my head. Yeah. Kimberly J says, Coachella looked like an an event to market yourself only. It's an influencer's world. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, there's we see the influencers post. That's why we don't see the regular stuff. You know what I mean? Um, Tova, yesterday your hair looked so good. What happened today? It looks like a mess. It's up in a messy clip. It's up in a messy clip. I had a doctor's appointment early this morning, so I threw it in a clip, took a shower, got to the doctor. Then I had to go to my daughter's school to give her medicine for her prednisone that she's on for lunch. So anyways, but thank you for being honest. Okay, B. Kent said, I think with MJ, gaslighting and not taking accountability sent him over the edge. Okay, but I'm going to be honest. I felt like she said, look, I've tried to apologize. I tried to talk to you. I kind of relate to this, right? Because as you know, last January, Jeff said some things about me on the radio, and I immediately called. I immediately texted and was like, are you talking about me? Because if so, that is absolutely not true. And I want to clear this up. Like, I'm so hurt. I'm so devastated. And he ghosted me. He later apologized once we did have a good conversation. And he said, look, sometimes I just need a breath. So he's admitted this to a lot of people, that when he's upset, sometimes he is not ready to talk, and he will call and reach out when he wants to. And that's what he did with me. But so I relate to it. I understand that she feels like, look, I texted, I called you, and you ghosted me. You weren't answering me. So we couldn't have a conversation about this. I definitely feel like Jeff needed some time for sure. But even at the very end, Jeff's like, I'm super invested in you. I just don't feel like you're as invested. Matter of fact, he was saying not only MJ, he was like, I feel like I get super invested in a lot of my friends and chumps and their businesses and wanting them to be successful. And I don't feel like they're as invested in me. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. I just feel like Jeff probably has a lot more success and money than most or all of the chumps. Well, not all of them. I don't know how much money people have. But anyways, not every single one of them. Not like, Josh Flagg, right? But the regular chumps, the more usual chumps. But I feel like they're not going to, Jeff is so powerful. Like, you're not going to be at the dinner table and try and force to pay for dinner, because we know that's going to like offend Jeff, right? Like, he wants to pay for the dinner. It's a write-off for him, but he also wants to take care of all that now. You know what I mean? Candace says, I couldn't stand being friends with MJ. She's a 50-something-year-old saying she wants quality time with Jeff. My hell, spend quality time with your kid, MJ. Yeah, I mean, she very much brought up towards the end. Look, we used to spend Memorial Day. I think they did that once or twice. It wasn't like for 10 years. Once or twice when he was with Stu like made this big spread, and they had all the chumps over in Jeff's house, or all the main ones. We know that MJ for years has kind of begged to take Jeff out for his birthday. She wants to take him to Boa. He doesn't necessarily make time for that, right? So we know that it's kind of a friendship where she wants more and he's giving all he has to give. But the ways he gives is in promoting her business, giving her real estate, suggesting her for a podcast. Like, that's his love language. I feel like is promoting people and like giving them a leg up in whatever business they are, because he thinks, success is money. I think she's more emotional and thinks, her love language is maybe time. You know what I mean? Ryan says, I get it though. She probably only sees him as serious. They're coworkers and friends. Well, and when they were doing business together, she was meeting and showing him houses, and she's into real estate. So she saw his house and she wants to see, the upgrades and the remodel that he's doing. I don't know. Bond says, MJ is incredibly needy, but never humble. She seems to expect certain treatment and that everyone should cater to her emotions. Everyone tells me that Reza was really bad to her on Shawls of Sunset towards the end, and she's apparently forgiven him for that. So I don't know. Yeah, Elle says Liat could do her podcast with a stuffed animal. I don't see MJ adding anything other than minimal clout from Shawls of Sunset. The only time I've watched Heel to Feel was the one with Jeff. And then the second episode that was primarily Scary Sherry talking to MJ. I definitely didn't feel like MJ, as much as MJ has done a podcast with her husband for 2 years now or more, I didn't feel like she felt that comfortable. And I didn't feel like Liat was willing to give her the space, the beat to ask a question. I felt like it was a very like this is my podcast and you can ask a question when you want. I thought it was odd. You know what I mean? I haven't listened to any others, so I don't know. B. Kent said, did she really think that Jeff would be okay with her saying that on her podcast, giving Heather vibes, using his name for views? Yeah, because she definitely, I think even in the, let me look. I think even in the podcast name said something about Chump Con. So, you know, when you say something like that, it's going to be, well, okay. She put Spring Break. This is the title of the podcast. Spring Break is here. Coachella versus Chump Con and the Beverly Hills reunion, which of course I didn't give a shit what she said about that. Coachella or Jeff Lewis's Chump Con. So she definitely knew to put his name in the description. Yeah. So, you know, somebody, who was it? I guess you were joking. Somebody yesterday on the live said that MJ was going to be on Juicy Scoop today. And I was like, OMG, like that is the nail in the coffin of their friendship. Like, oh my God, it wasn't true. It wasn't true. Nick James says, well, MJ is dirty like that. Reza blew his cork because of the way she is, and he knows how she is. Jeff did the same thing today, and it will never be the same. I was shocked how calm MJ stayed. I felt like, I don't know. I was shocked. I was shocked at how calm she stayed. I don't think I could have stayed that calm. But you know, he is Jeff, and he's a big energy in the room. Annie says MJ with Liat is another example of MJ wanting to network with people of status and wealth. The podcast is Liat with MJ as a sidekick. That's how I felt whenever I watched those 2 episodes for sure. I saw where you said you were joking. Y'all were, I didn't even read it. Oh, Heather, it's okay. It's okay. I literally was like, oh my God, it's okay. I get now that it was a joke. It's okay. I don't read I can't see all the comments sometimes. Anyways, okay. Does anyone want to come on and have a question or a comment? It can be about anything, but obviously if you have an opinion about the MJ and Jeff of it all, oh my gosh. Tiffany Chump, if you're still here, do you regret not having a threesome with Joey? Like, do you think, was he dead serious too? Like, was he serious? Like, do you feel like if y'all walked up to one of your hotel rooms, it would have really gotten down and dirty? Like, oh my God. I was at a club, it's a bar here in Houston called the Black Swan at the Omni Hotel years ago after my husband's after his work Christmas party. A bunch of us went there and it was not crowded yet. It was probably 10:30 or 11 and the Black Swan doesn't get crowded till, midnight. Anyways, this couple, this is so long ago, this couple was talking to me, and later when we went home, my husband was like, they were so coming on to you. Like they were talking about that they're swingers and that there's this club in Houston that has a red door and it doesn't have a name and everyone knows that that's a swinger bar. And I was so naive, so oblivious that they were really, and all of his coworkers were like, they are absolutely coming on to Sarah. Like she has no idea. And I did not. I had no idea. Wait, Kimberly J says, I regret Tiffany not having a threesome with Joey. LOL. Oh my gosh. Tiffany's Trump says, how do I get on? How do I invite guest? Okay. Well, let me just post this. It's always the first comment. And then that thing that's going there, Tiffany. Paste. Okay. Copy and paste that StreamYard thing into Safari. Okay. Into Safari, and it'll bring you up, and then it'll show up down there for me. Tiffany Chump, as you know, was at Chump Con. She's been to multiple events. I've met her and her husband multiple times, and definitely want to hear what she says about Joey, because now they're also saying that he absolutely hooked up with the blonde, the dirty blonde. And my friend was texting me this morning. She was listening to the show yesterday or this morning, and she was like, remember, because she was at the dinner that I was telling y'all that Dirty Blonde was with us. She reminded me of so many facts. And she's like, oh, he showed me the thing. Tiffany's on. She showed me. Okay, I'm about to bring you on, Tiffany. She showed me the text. I mean, the thing where Joey was DMing back and forth with this Dirty Blonde guy about going to his hotel room. And the guy was saying he had never done it with a guy, but he was like curious. He is very cute. And now I want to know if she met him. Hey, Tiffany, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing? I'm still
Is your voice still
recovering.
recovering?
Yes.
I bet Chump Con takes days to recover from, but you also stayed a couple more days with your husband, right? And y'all's friends and
Oh,
family
yeah.
there.
Chump Con was actually a small part of our trip.
Wow.
We did a lot of other things.
Well, that is some trip when Chump Con is just a tiny part of it. Okay, did you meet Dirty Blonde?
I don't
Or do you
think
know?
so. I saw a guy there that came up to Joey when he was talking to me, and he actually said something kind of rude, and I was confused, and I just saw Joey's jaw drop, and I was like, just give me a hug. And then I asked him, I said, did you ask my husband for a threesome? He said, yes. And he asked me how old I was. I told him 41. He goes, you look 38. I was like, thank you.
Wait, Joey said, who's 41? Who's 38?
He
Joey's like
asked
33.
me, he asked me how old I was. And I told him I'm 41. And he told me I look 38.
You look much younger. Your boobies look 17. Let's just be clear. In your skin. Oh my God. Okay. I'm not going to have a girl fest here, but anyways. Okay. So, do you think he was serious or was he joking?
I don't, well, my husband, I was at the bar getting a drink with Robin, and my husband saw Joey and said, you're my wife's favorite. And he just said, do you want to have a threesome? And my husband said, you can have her if you want.
Oh my God. So that was just Joey's like, hi, how's it going? Was, hey, do you want to have a threesome?
Yes. And then that guy, and then I went up to him and I said, hi, we took a couple pictures. He gave me a kiss. And then the guy said something to him and I was confused. And then he left and he was talking to the guy in the corner. And then he walked off with him. And the guy was really short and had a cowboy hat on.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, something's going to happen, I think.
So when Jeff said that Dirty Blonde, that Joey admitted to hooking up with Dirty Blonde at the Phoenix show, I was like, I had never really talked about it because I didn't know if it was ever true. And I also didn't really want to get Joey in trouble. Like if you're supposed to hook up with a chump or not, like, I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
But he definitely showed me the DMs. I mean, it was definitely Joey's account. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And
I
was
don't
like,
know if that was the same guy. I guess it wasn't.
well, it has to be because somebody that was at the dinner with me after the Phoenix show was texting me this morning and she reminded me all of these details. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So if he hooked up with Dirty Blonde and she said that he had dirty blonde hair, I remembered he was super cute and he was at the event by himself, which
Was
I
he
thought
short?
No.
Okay, well then it's probably not the same guy.
But not overly tall.
He was very short.
No, not like 5'6" or anything, I don't think.
Yeah, like shorter than me probably.
Okay.
But he had a cowboy hat on, so I gave him a couple inches.
But I don't think that's not Dirty Blonde.
No, it's not. It's a different guy.
No, yeah, Cowboy is different than Dirty Blonde. I'm talking about Dirty Blonde.
I didn't see Dirty Blonde. I missed him because I only went to the events on Saturday night.
Well, I think they were even talking about Carrie. That's right. You were at the Saturday night event. That they were even saying that Carrie, I think, Dirty Blonde said to her, like, can I see your tits? So that's kind of rude too. I mean, maybe it was just alcohol, but
Oh yeah, it was the alcohol. But overall, I mean, I wish I would have done the whole weekend. I should have went earlier because it was just a Chump weekend in Resorts World. You could have went and just ate pizza and saw Jeff. I found his signature on the wall. So
he really did sign it?
he did. I found it. It took me a while. I had the manager come out and show it to me because I couldn't find it for a while. It
Yeah.
was right in front of me, but it's cute. And then I saw Jamie Kennedy sign the wall also. I met Jamie at the club. He was so sweet. He took a picture of us. He put his light. He has a light just like Patrick and Pole.
Oh, he
put his light
does.
on my camera. He took a great picture of us. And I met Alyssa at the Gatsby after. She was so cute. I said her name and she just started jumping up and gave me a hug.
Okay, so Jamie is the last chump that I would ever expect to give a shit about his pictures being good and having. I mean, this is the Patrick and Poe light. Patrick told me about the light, and this is from Amazon. I mean, it
Jamie
does work.
One too.
It work. He's the last person I would think that would do that. That's kind of funny to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was it a club? Great. Was this the after show after the live event?
Yeah, because I went to the show and then I went to the after club. Me and Robin went and got some pizza, and then I went and changed my dress because I had an extra dress. And then we went to the club, and a lot of chumps had already left by the time we got there. But right when we walked in, we met the manager, Liz. She was so nice. They bought tons of bottles of champagne, tequila for all the guests. So me and my husband just kind of got on a couch and kind of watched people. And they were on top of that moving stage. Yeah. And I finally got up there and saw Jeff and Ty, and they are just too cute together. So cute.
Oh my
God, so in
love.
Ty is so sweet. He's so happy for Jeff and all his success. It's really cute.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Jeff was very sweet about him today. Like,
yeah, they're cute.
Very sweet about him.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, thanks for telling us. I've got to get a picture of Dirty Blonde. So if anyone has a picture of Dirty Blonde, send it to me. And I need to, I'm behind on my DMs, but I cannot remember what his name is on Instagram. I don't think it's somebody that I talk to all the time, but
I'm going to have to change it to Dirty Blonde now.
Would he change it to Dirty Blonde or make sure not to ever refer to himself as Dirty Blonde?
He definitely should change it to Dirty Blonde.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, Stoney has a question. Is your husband just as big a fan of Jeff Lewis, or does he just go along with you?
He goes along with it, but he, like, every day, like today, he called me in the middle of the second hour, and I had told him, I cannot talk to you right now. I'm listening. Jamie's getting emotional. So he waited till the end. And then, but he loves, I show him everything. I show him the clips. He loves it. Whenever we go on our trips to like LA or whatever, we listen to Jeff Lewis the whole
time. I love that. I love that.
Serious account, but he makes sure that I catch him up on the latest every day.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Ask Stoney's question. Okay, I think that was the question. So, anyways. Okay, well, I will chat with you later. Thank you for letting us know about it.
All right, y'all. See you later.
Bye, girlfriend. Love her. I've met her and her husband. They're both so cool. Tracy says, I'm wondering, Dirty Blonde was if Dirty Blonde was the guy that grabbed Joey's leg when he and Crystal were dancing on the hot tub. No idea. Also, who was Dirty Blonde with? If it's the same guy, he went to the Phoenix event by himself. And then somehow he ended up at dinner with us. And everyone at the dinner table thought I knew him. And I'm like, I don't know him. I mean, he knows me from doing an account, but he didn't. It was so weird. I mean, I was so glad that this friend of mine reminded me about everything during over text this morning. I was like, oh my gosh. So at the end of the day, Kelly Dodd ends up calling in. They chatted. So MJ and Kelly had this feud. MJ, this is where I agree. And some people were already disagreeing with me in the Facebook group. But I think that MJ was very hurt the way Jeff and Kelly Dodd were talking about her surgeries and calling it, basically saying she's a liar. And basically, she didn't have a neck lift. There's nothing called a neck lift, that it's a lower facelift. And Kelly admits that she was wrong. Jeff admits that he was wrong and apologized. But I think before those apologies, that happened on Friday. MJ and her husband Tommy record the podcast on Sunday night. It goes out on Monday. So it was still very fresh in MJ's brain. So I think MJ was saying, look, I felt like if you're a real friend of mine, nobody would talk about me like that. And it didn't feel like friends of mine, because even Kelly Dodd admitted that she and MJ are like real friends. Like they really do hang out. You know what I mean? So, oh, thank you, Charlie. Charles says, give her a thumbs up. The scoop is hot. Thank you. And there's over 317 people on right now. So please make sure to hit the thumbs up, comment, share the video. If you have other people that love reality TV and Jeff Lewis Live, I would really, really appreciate it. Very true. Smilene says, but Jeff speaks his way towards everyone, Jameson, Oscar, etc. He also, and they kind of joked about this at the end about like Apology University, but he's like, Kelly and I, we know how to go, we know how to apologize. It doesn't mean those hurtful things weren't said. Like, I respect an apology, and I think MJ respected that Kelly apologized and that Jeff Lewis apologized. But I think in the heat, when she and Tommy recorded the podcast, I think she was still very hurt from that. Like, why are they basically calling me a liar about my plastic surgery when I'm everything but honest? I literally show up with stitches in my neck with, blood tubes coming out of me. You know what I mean? Well, I bet she's still very, was she on the picture today? Usually the second hour people aren't. Did she do a picture today? Maybe her and Jamie did one and they put it on the, she said, Katrina says, I'm not being rude, but MJ doesn't look like she had a reduction, but I think you're, very swollen for a while. So, you know what I mean? Rodney said, I'm surprised that Jeff's meanness doesn't alienate more people. Lincoln the Golden says, Jeff can be so mean, but people still worship him. I don't get it. Yeah. I think that was her natural boobs all along. I don't know that she had an enhanced, but I don't know. Does anyone know, MJ, if that was all of her boobs? I feel like that was just her body type, like just big boobs, but I have no idea. No idea. Yeah. Smilene says, I haven't seen a picture of MJ since the surgery. I haven't either. I mean, I can't imagine this is the time to take a picture of yourself when you've got like, staples in you and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, Amanda, what was your name before? Amanda said, hey, Chumpettes, I changed my account to my name finally. What was your account before? Hey, Annie, how are you? Yeah, Heather says, I think they were natural. I kind of think so too. And yeah, Heather says, I think they were. Smilene says, I believe they were natural they were real boobs. Yeah. Stoney says, verbal apologies are just words. Repeated actions demonstrate if you're never sorry. It's about actions. Those were her real boobs. I saw season 1 Shaw's since it came out, Claudia says. Thank you. Tracy says, everybody remember, this is a mellow Jeff compared to 10 years ago. But I've always said, I don't think he's much different than flipping out. I really don't. I think at the core, he's who he is. I don't know. Nick James says, there's a difference between honesty and mean. Honesty and directness is not mean. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What did y'all think of Jamie crying? That was awkward, but that was some real tears. I mean, it wasn't even tears. It was sadness. I think he was genuinely surprised that Jeff was really that upset. I think he was just ready for a fun show. And, I think he thought he would really suck up to Jeff, but also be very honest and say, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting to like hang out and get to know the chumps better and just have this great weekend. I think Jamie was coming into it like, oh, I sold all these tickets, whether or not he did or not. I go to these cons. I know what I'm doing. And I think he was really touched by how loyal and intense and dedicated the chump listeners are. And I think that really, really was emotional for him, which is completely understandable. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I wish I was at Chump Con. I wish I felt comfortable going, is just the connection with everyone and just getting to meet someone that you DM with for years, or that comes in your Facebook group, or that comes on your live. You know what I mean? Like, you always have a connection with those people. Stoney says, yeah, exactly. Jeff's delivery may have changed over the years, but how he thinks and who he is inside is the same. People don't fundamentally change. Yeah, I don't think so too. And not in a bad way. I just think it's really, you are who you are. Heather said, I feel completely different about Jamie after this weekend in the show today. In a better way, I'm assuming. Nick James says, Jamie can be a little flip too. It was probably good for him to see this side of Jeff. Oh, like it scared him? Is that what you mean? I don't know. Anyways, very interesting. I think we all just have to like take a breath, like, oh my gosh, you know, this could be one of those things where we think it's okay. And then all of a sudden, let's look today if Jeff follows MJ, because if he does now and we look another time, we'll know that we figured out that he's unfollowed her. Okay, I'm scanning. Well, wait, I keep forgetting that you can search. Hold on. Mercedes. Yes. So Jeff follows Mercedes as of April 17th. Okay. Jeff Lewis, Mercedes Javid. And I'm assuming, obviously, that, I mean, she follows 3,749 people. I'm positive Jeff Lewis is one of those people, right? If you're going to follow 3,700, why would you not follow Jeff Lewis? And she follows Jeff Lewis. So if anyone notices a change in that, because trust me, y'all are really good at letting me know that. Okay, well, we are going to wrap it up. Everyone go take a nap, go do some yoga, take some deep breaths, whatever you have to do to calm down from the second hour. It was a lot. Let me know your thoughts. If you're listening as a replay, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to me everywhere at Sarah from Texas Podcast. If you're listening as a podcast, please scroll down and give me a 5-star rating and review. I would very much appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow. Maybe some of you have the day off. It is Good Friday. Monday is the day after Easter. So a lot of you might have a 3 or a 4-day weekend. So Sunday is Easter. I will not be doing my Instagram live because all of our kiddos are going to be home and everyone will be dealing with Easter and Easter dinner and all that kind of stuff. So, Amanda's going for her first mammogram. Please, we're praying for great results on getting those titties squashed. Happy mammogram to you today and great results coming up for you. Anyways, thank you all for being so amazing. I love our community. I love when y'all get comfortable in comments and chat. Make sure to join the Sarah from Texas Facebook group, and I will see you tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern. Happy Easter. Bye, Chumpettes. Thank you.